Hello! We're here for another members only full moon video. And of course, all of you know that I am astrologer coach Sonja Francis. We have a full moon coming up on November 23rd, very, very early in the morning on the East Coast at 12:39 a.m. New York time and at 5:39 a.m. London time. So the full moon will be exact in almost 1 degree of Gemini, Sagittarius. And so when we talk about full moons, this always gives us a chance to realize how far we've come since the last lunation, since the last new moon. So what we usually gain a better understanding or insight about is whether we are where we'd like to be, because the full moon gives us this awareness of where am I at? And so we can get a sense for whether we want to be making some major adjustments or if we're happy with how far we've come since the time of the new moon. Now, full moons also highlight relationships, because an opposition always highlights relationships. And so sometimes a full moon can bring about a crisis to heighten our awareness of any imbalance that we're experiencing internally. And so thereby pointing us towards, the need for integration of the polarities that are in play. And so in this case, with this full moon, we're dealing with the polarity of Sagittarius and Gemini. And we'll seek the balance and to integrate those two poles within ourselves or within our relationships with other people. And so let's talk a little bit about those two signs and see what the energies are about. Now, Sagittarius, where the sun will be, the sun is going to be in Sagittarius, shows us a wider perspective and is asking us to look beyond facts and learned knowledge to our life experiences and to the wisdom that we've gained from interacting with life or living, right? And so it's really interested, Sagittarius is interested in the bigger picture and the truth about life, kind of like if you think of it from more a philosophical standpoint or from a place of, what works in life for us. And also what you can ask yourself with this Sagittarian energy here for this full moon is, what might I be able to learn from traveling or from an adventure or simply by breaking from my regular routine that I'm used to? And what types of experiences might broaden my horizons? And is it at least possible that a new perspective might retroactively change what I have been through or what I have experienced in the past? So what we want to look at with Sagittarius is like how could our perspective about something shift, what we've actually been through. And that can be very effective, actually. When we have been through traumatic events or when we've experienced emotional, interactions or experiences, or where we felt disempowered in some way. When we try to look at that from a larger perspective, when we try to shift a little bit how we look at something that we have experienced, it can really change the memory of that experience, and it can change our relationship to that experience quite a bit. So that last question was a really, really good one. So I'm going to repeat that one more time. So is it at least possible that a new perspective might retroactively change what I have been through or what I have experienced? And so I just want you to, with these questions, of course, as always, just sit with the questions or journal on them or meditate on them. You do not have to answer these questions right away. That's not the purpose of the question. It's not a quiz in how much you know or don't know. It's more about, intuitively investigating and feeling into these questions, kind of getting a sense for, okay, what answers are coming to me as I'm posing these questions, or what do I experience when I ask these questions? Because sometimes answers can come to us in a lot of different ways. You know, they don't just have to come from our own intuitive thinking. They can also come through other people, or through a song, or through a conversation that we're having, or something that we even overhear somebody else say, right? So there's a lot of ways we can receive answers. So just stay open to that as best as you can. Now, Gemini, which is the other side of that polarity, wants us to stay connected to our immediate environment, our communities that we're in touch with, and our day-to-day mind, or our day-to-day thinking. And so it wants us processing and sharing information as fast and as much as possible. Gemini always wants to stay in contact and in connection with, you know, everything that it can have a conversation with, or can share information with. Now, Gemini is definitely interested in the spoken and in the written word, because that's where the information comes from, right? So ask yourself with Gemini, how do logic and language enrich my life? And how could I better experience the power of my mind on a daily basis? And how does my inner dialogue contribute to that as well? And this is a very important question, because very often when we think of communication, when we think of sharing or in exchange of information, we very often think about something that happens between us and some other medium, whether that's another person, or whether that's, you know, we're getting information through the internet, or through the television, or, you know, a book, or whatever it may be, right? But very seldomly do we think about information coming to us through ourselves, because our own processing, our own inner dialogue, right, our own inner thinking is part of that as well. And that can be very powerful to investigate and to observe and to see, like, what's my own thinking process when it comes to information, you know, and how do I process that? What do I do with information? How do I share it? What do I not share? You know, does it feel empowering to me what I say to myself? You know, these words words or thoughts, you know, whatever you want to call them, that go on internally, they can have a huge impact on how we feel and how we experience life. So this is a really, really big and important question. How does my inner dialogue contribute to my experience of the power of my mind, right? And what do I learn from my interactions with other people? And of course, that's the other side of it, right? It's like we interact with other people, we share, we connect, we talk, we listen or not, you know. So what do I learn from my interactions with other people, and what am I willing to learn? Because, you know, often, you know, we also need to have an openness or a willingness to learn from the things that we're experiencing with other people. I call it sort of like the feedback loop, you know, like being able to be able to receive feedback from other people, to be able to listen to what other people tell us, you know, about ourselves, or about what it is that we're sharing, or what it is that we're offering. You know, I think that can be very powerful, you know, and it doesn't mean we have to necessarily listen to every single thing that comes through, but I think there is sort of like, you know, if there is an openness and an appreciation of feedback from other people, then we can start to take it in a little bit better, and then we can decide or make a choice. You know, is this actually valuable to me, or is it not valuable to me? Or have I heard this feedback several times already? And if I have, maybe it's important for me to listen to that. So there's, you know, various levels of how we can interact with the information that we're receiving from other people, right? Now, so we're being asked here with the Gemini energy and the Sagittarian energy to integrate, right? To integrate mind energy, information, and also our conditioning, because very often, you know, that inner dialogue that we have very often stems from a conditioning that we have enjoyed growing up, you know, the things that we've soaked up from other people, that other people have said to us, things that, you know, people have said to each other, things that we've heard about, you know, on television or through other mediums, we soak stuff up as children. And so all of that is part of our, knowledge base, a part of our information base that's in here in our computer up here, right? That's all part of the programming. So conditioning, you could think of it as like programming, right? So, but what do we need to integrate between that mind energy and the Sagittarian wisdom energy generated from life's experiences and the quest for a larger truth or a bigger understanding about life in general? Why am I here? What's the purpose of this human existence? Why do I feel the things I feel? How am I... how can I look at life in such a way that I can have or enjoy greater happiness for myself? These are all, Sagittarian-based questions, right? So we want to really start to find sort of like a way to integrate that mind energy with that wisdom energy, right? Now, all the full moon questions that I'm giving through the full moon video are also going to be available in writing via my weekly forecasts by the evening of November 18th. So feel free to go to my website and log into your member page and just look for the full moon post, which will be on November 23rd. Right? And so look for that post, and then you will have all the questions available there too, in case you want to, journal with the questions or meditate with them or anything like that. Now, let's talk about some other things that are connected to this full moon chart. I hope this was enjoyable, and I hope you guys were able to take in all the information and maybe take some breaks in between. Have a fantastic full moon, and remember to not overexert yourself, to slow down maybe here and there, and take really good care of yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and mentally if you can. And I will be back in another 2 weeks for the new moon video. And if you need anything else, feel free to reach out and email me. All right, this is astrologer coach Sonja Francis. Namaste. Love you all. Bye-bye.